researching people who have had an impact on civil rights. Are you guys familiar with Damon Keith?
Yeah, Damon Keith was a judge that helped make many impactful decisions that helped with integration and uplifting the community. He's done so many impactful things, it's basically legendary.
Yeah, he's definitely written down as a true hero in my book, but it's a shame not a lot of people know about him.
But guys, you know a lot of his inspiration started right in Detroit?
No, really?
Yeah, let me tell you about it. Damon Keith was born right in Detroit in 1922. He served as the United States Court of Appeals judge for the Sixth Circuit. He was the youngest out of 6 children, and he was the first out of all of them to attend college. He even went to school at the Detroit Collegiate Preparatory High School in Northwestern before he went to college at West Virginia State in 1943. After that, he was drafted into the military. See, back then the military was segregated, so his experiences that he faced during that time is what strengthened his conviction to the cause for civil rights. He later received his JD from Howard Law School, passed the Michigan bar exam, and earned his LLM right at Wayne State's College of Law. Back then, there weren't many black attorneys, nor places for them to work, so he decided to establish his own law firm with 6 other black attorneys, and that's when he decided to use his political connections to help the city of Detroit.
Wow, that's so inspiring. When jobs were limited for black attorneys, he really took things into his own hands. Did you also know that he served as the chair for the Michigan Housing and Civil Rights Commission? In 1977, President Lyndon B. Johnson appointed him to the Eastern District of Michigan Court, and after that, President Jimmy Carter appointed him to the Court of Appeals. And that's just the beginning. He used his role as chief judge to fight for justice all across Michigan.
Yeah, just like with the Davis versus the School District of City of Pontiac case. The Davis versus the School District of City of Pontiac case was one of the first major cases Damon was assigned to by the NAACP Pontiac chapter, where he made the decision to enforce Pontiac school districts to desegregate school buses to allow for black students to receive the same level of education as white students. Now, this was a risky decision that he made in 1970, one that could have cost him his life, as he was constantly threatened by the KKKs. And in 1971, 10 school buses were bombed by the KKKs, trying to force Damon to change his decision about desegregation. While Damon could have changed his decision, he knew that he had to stick to the decision he made about desegregation to allow for everyone to receive equal educational opportunities.
Another one of his well-known cases was the Garrett versus City of Hamtramck case. This case came about because the City of Hamtramck stopped maintaining streets and sewers in certain neighborhoods. Basements were filled with unsanitary overflow, and some neighborhoods didn't have any water flow. Residents were told to evacuate their homes immediately so that they could be demolished. When they didn't move fast enough, the city shut off their water entirely. He found that this urban renewal system carried out by the City of Hamtramck was racially discriminatory. With Keith's power in office, he ordered the city to rebuild neighborhoods and provide financial assistance to all families.
The streets of Detroit weren't always so quiet. In 1977, there were huge race riots and protests for black people being denied equal job opportunities. Dr. King famously said that the limitation of rights is that they cannot be won, and the participants know this. However, they are an emotional catharsis that must be followed by futility. Keith saw that black people were being denied equal opportunities and sought to unite the people of Detroit. Are you all familiar with Keith's contributions to affirmative action?
No, I'm not.
Everyone agrees that companies should hire based on who's the most qualified, not by race. So what's the big deal?
Well, racism is built into the DNA fabric of America. As long as we turn a blind eye to those suffering under its oppression, we can't escape those origins. In 1977, unemployment among black men was more than double that of white men in Detroit. And Damon Keith saw that black people were being discriminated against in the Detroit Edison Company in staggering numbers, as they were only being hired for the undesirable and dangerous positions. He ordered the company to pay $4 million to their black employees and start an affirmative action program. And this historic case paved the way for many affirmative action programs all across America.
Now learning about the memorable cases done by Damon Keith, it kind of reminds me of the impactful things done by Martin Luther King.
You're right. MLK laid the foundation for Damon to help bring people together. Damon was not afraid to put his life on the line to help make MLK's dream a reality. While Damon's life was always at risk, he knew that the promised land was near, and even if he himself couldn't make it to the promised land, he could help lead others to the path of the promised land, a land of equality and inclusion, a land, as Dr. King states, where God's children will join hands and sing in the old Negro spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
So how else does Damon Keith's work align with that of Dr. King? Well, for starters, Dr. King wanted to ensure equal opportunities for all, regardless of race. In his book, Why We Can't Wait, he wrote that whenever the issue of compensation treatment for black people is raised, some of our own friends recoil in horror. They agree black people should have equality, but nothing more. And on the surface, this appears reasonable, but it's not realistic. You see, Dr. King was speaking about the ways that we can actually begin to dismantle systemic racism. Both Dr. King and Damon Keith believe the only way to achieve true equality in society is having equal access to opportunities. So Keith's historic affirmative action case ensured that black people, especially in Detroit, had equal access to job opportunities.
Throughout his entire career, just like Martin Luther King, Keith maintained respect, courage, and he never backed down from a fight. Even though he was the spokesman for the civil rights movement, Keith used his power of law to help fight justice throughout the entire city of Detroit. Similar to Dr. King's Fair Housing Act of 1968, where he fought against discrimination in the sale and rental of housing, he fought the Garrett versus City of Hamtramck case to ensure funding and safe housing for all Hamtramck residents.
After learning all of that about Damon Keith, I think it's important now more than ever that his work continues. Just like Dr. King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Damon Keith worked hard to create life-lasting opportunities for all people.
You're right, Tori. And the impact that Damon's left on Detroit can still be seen today, with Wayne State dedicating their law school to him to inspire the next generation of attorneys and judges. The center includes notes from his trials along with his noted accomplishments, including the famous words, "Democracy dies behind closed doors." Words spoken by Damon Keith, which were a declaration of his life and helped define our nation's history. The Damon J. Keith Center can be found connected to the Law Library.
The astounding and historical work done by Senior Judge Damon Keith has not only impacted the city of Detroit, but all Americans. But there's only one Damon Keith, a man who kept the light shining on the truth because, as he said, democracies die behind closed doors. May his legacy live on and inspire others for decades to come.
The outside is the 4 words, equal justice under law. And that's been my desire since I've been on the bench to do what I could to make equal justice under law a reality.
Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.